We had just some people touring on Wednesday, and it was a couple of couples that came through, and they left, but then they came back about an hour later and said they had another question about the house. And when I said, what is it? They said, do you have a little girl running around? And I said, no. And they said, your granddaughter's not here today running around the house? And we said, no, we haven't had any children in the house today. Well, it turns out that when they were up on the third floor, which you'll see, there's a room that has a screen door. And they were all leaving the room, and the last person was like holding the screen door open, for everybody to follow her out. And she told her friends after the tour that she was surprised that we let a little girl run around by herself on the third floor when we make tours be accompanied with a tour guide. And her friends were like, what little girl? And she said, the little girl that was behind us when I opened the screen door. And she said, but she didn't follow us out. I turned around and she was gone, and I figured she was still in the room. And when you see the room, you'll understand, because there's a partition that she could have been behind. And her friends were like, there was no little girl. No, they were like, yeah, she was in the room with us. Yeah, they're like, no, she was in the room with us. They were like, no, there was no little girl in the room with us.
What's going on, our fellow paratrippers? I know what you're thinking. I know. Why have you guys not done an investigation at one of the most haunted locations in the U.S.? Well, I'm glad you asked, because that's actually where we're headed right now, and I'm glad you guys are coming along with us. We were invited by our good friend Spooky Gin at Ghost Tours of Galveston, the prestigious and original ghost tour in Galveston, link down below. Well, she asked us to come and explore and do a day trip episode at a very beautiful historic mansion that's supposedly also haunted. And how could we say no? Absolutely, we jumped on this, because not only are we going to go explore this beautiful mansion, but we're also going to go explore the amazing Naval Museum as well. So not only are there tales of bravery, heroism, and tragedy, but there's also currently stories of unexplained events. So yeah, absolutely we're in. So what are we waiting for? Let's go explore the beautiful, historic, and haunted League-Kempner house, and also the amazing Galveston Naval Museum in the historic and very haunted Galveston, Texas. Let's go check it out. Here we go.
Galveston, Texas, located about 52 miles south of Houston off of I-45, where the island's seaside charm takes on a more mysterious and alluring spooky feeling during spooky season. Founded in the early 1800s and named after Bernardo de Galvez, the city quickly grew into a thriving port and cultural hub of Texas. But prosperity came with hardship. Galveston has weathered devastating tragedies throughout its history. The Great Storm of 1900, the deadliest natural disaster in U.S. history, claimed thousands of lives and reshaped the island forever. Epidemics like yellow fever swept through the city in the 19th century, leaving scars on the community. With such a legacy of triumph and tragedy, it's a little surprising that Galveston is said to be one of the most haunted places in America. Its streets, historic homes, and old hotels alive with ghostly echoes of the past. And speaking of haunted and historic, let's go inside and check out the beautiful League-Kempner house. Here we go.
All right, here we are with
Jen, Spooky Jen.
And
Joe. I'm with the League-Kempner house.
And Jen, before we start, tell us about yourself, because you run a tour, from what I hear, a very popular one, if not the most popular one here in Galveston.
Well, I'm Spooky Gin, and I run Spooky Galveston and Ghost Tours of Galveston. And I do storm tours, ghost tours. I do partnerships with the Carriage House Rentals and with the Galveston Naval Museum as well. And what we do is we try to maximize all of the best haunted ghost stories that we can on the island.
Awesome.
And in doing that, we're able to promote awareness about places that, you know, need historic preservation and just attention thrown at them, nonprofits, small businesses, that kind of thing. And it works really well to our advantage because the entire island is haunted.
And you took over the ghost tour from
Dash Beardsley.
He's on all travel channels and shit.
He was the very first person to ever do a ghost tour in Galveston. He actually created the industry here.
Wow.
And he ran the ghost tours for about 25 years.
Okay.
He was in Newsweek, he was on Coast to Coast, he was just really renowned in the paranormal world for a long time.
Wow.
I'm going to provide her information here because you definitely got to take the tour.
And check it out.
Yeah, we do all of it. And the really cool thing about what I do is, especially when I'm working with the Galveston Naval Museum, a portion of the proceeds from the ticket sales, from the tickets for the paranormal investigations, and for the ghost tours that we do, it goes back to these nonprofits. And that
really
helps
cool.
them with renovation, restoration, and it also gives them the opportunity to get the word out that these things are needed and necessary in order to keep these places going.
That is really cool.
So not only are you going to be having a really cool experience and checking out some of these beautiful historic places, you're actually going to be helping them. Pretty much what we do, Rachel, you know, trying to keep history alive, one ghost story at a time.
Absolutely.
That's what these
So this is the League-Kempner house. It is named after J.C. League, who was the one who had the house built. And he was a second generation, very wealthy businessman. The house was built in 1893. He was close friends with Nicholas Clayton, who was the architect that's famous here in Galveston. And so this is a Nicholas Clayton designed house that he designed in conjunction with J.C. League. And it was he and his wife's empty nest house. So they built this house after their daughter was grown, and they wanted something, you know, to retire in, and so they built this mansion to
Not
do
too
that.
shabby.
Yeah. This is their downsizing. And so they lived here until he eventually passed away in 1916. And in 1918, the house was built by Eliza Kempner. And she was the matriarch of the Kempner family, who is another big, prominent Galveston family. They're the Imperial Sugar people that founded Sugarland.
Okay.
And she had a big family. She had 8 children that lived to adulthood, and 3 of them lived with her as adults, and she had many grandchildren. And so she needed an addition on this house because it was not big enough for her family. So she did a remodel in 1920 and added some rooms onto the house. And then the third owner in 1972 was a man named John Samuels, and he never lived here. He was an absentee owner. His parents lived here, and after they passed away, his nephew lived here, and he rented out rooms to his friends, and it was known as an artist colony, commune. So a lot of artists and musicians lived here. So this house has had 3 lifetimes, basically. And then in 2020, the John Samuels passed away, and the house went into the estate to be sold, and it was bought by someone who intended to flip it. But when they got into the house and saw how original it was, they couldn't bear to flip it. So aside from the addition and some minor cosmetic changes and some bathrooms being added, everything was original to the house. The original 1893 plumbing was here. The parts that were from 1893 looked just like they did in 1893. The parts added in 1920 were just like in 1920. So this house is just a time capsule of what the house was at the time it was built, and that's so rare here in Galveston, where houses, you know, get reused and turned into apartments and remodeled. So instead, she turned the house over to a nonprofit, created a nonprofit organization specifically to restore this house and run it as a house museum and open it to the community so that everybody can share it.
It's such a beautiful house.
So we are a nonprofit, all volunteer organization, and every penny goes into restoration of the house. And you'll see as you walk through, we're very much a restoration in progress. But we open for tours so that people can see what a restoration looks like and what it takes.
This, by the way, is Janie. She's the one that I've been working.
It looks like you've been doing some renovations yourself.
My normal yes. Janie is the one that was responsible for purchasing the house and then turning it over to the nonprofit.
So there's a hypothesis that says when we start renovating old homes, it starts stirring up supposed activity. Now, has there ever been any? Has there ever been any tragedies in this house?
Not that we know of.
Okay.
Now, I think J.C. Lee died here.
And he was in state here for his funeral.
Okay.
Yeah, but, you know, they say the island with the 1900 storm,
yes.
There's so many people.
Galveston is full of a lot of tragic events. You have 9 yellow fever epidemics. You've got countless hurricanes. You've got fires. You've got the Black Plague on the island in the 1920s. A little bit of a lot of different things have happened here. I mean, and when you really go back even further than that, you know, you had pirates here at one time. You've had, you know, a lot of battles and wars. The Civil War was fought here as well as everywhere else.
We were just reading, not in this house, but League-Kempner, who purchased it when her children were grown. When she was younger, 2 of her children died within 2 weeks of each other from a typhus epidemic.
Spanish influenza was on the island too.
2 more almost died.
Yeah.
So, you know, every family was impacted by something.
So stirring up activity. I hear there's stuff going on here. What some of the accounts, some of the stories? You just gave us one, but let's
Jen is the expert.
Jen is the ghost expert.
So the nonprofit gave me just this incredible opportunity to come in last year. And so we created a night of psychic medium gallery readings, and we created the month of mourning, and we had just an incredible night of just a whole bunch of different things going on. When we were setting up for the month of mourning, I was bringing in everything to set up a Victorian mourning parlor in the parlor here because they allowed me to do it.
Yeah.
And so, like all good tour guides, I have a casket, you know, so I brought in my coffin and we set it up and we were decorating the room, and I was coming in one afternoon and I was by myself. My sister wasn't that far behind me, but I had to unlock the door, punch in the code, and walk around, you know, drop some stuff off. And as I rounded the corner, I walk in this way, and sitting at the table that we had set up with everything else already in place was a woman sitting at the table. And I went, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize there was anybody in here." And she was sitting there, and I was like, "Wait, I am alone." And she's gone.
Oh, no way.
So that happened, yes.
Oh, wow.
Other experiences that have happened.
Yes. All right.
So we did a paranormal investigation a couple of months ago. We had a couple that came out from Kingwood, and they were so excited to investigate the house. But one of the rules when we do an investigation is that somebody has to be on property. So while the investigation is happening, that way there's always somebody here if something happens, if somebody needs help, anything like that, you know, because it's a house that, you know, it's under restoration and renovation. So I had to do a ghost tour. And so my sister, who's also a volunteer here, she decorates for Christmas and she helps put up all the Halloween decorations. And so she winds up saying, "Okay, yeah, I will sit at the house while you're giving your tour, no problem," with her husband. And they come in the house, and it's about 150,000 degrees in here because there's no AC, and we have everything shut because we don't want to compromise the investigation. And so she comes into this room with her husband, and he sits over there, and she sits right here. It's 100 million degrees in this house. She didn't even break a sweat. She felt cold and chilled the entire time she was sitting in that chair. We had a room partition that we set in here, and it was right next to this wall. And my mom came in here, and she reached over the chair like this to grab it and pull it forward. And she said she felt like somebody stood up from the chair and walked through her.
Wow.
So there has been some activity. There have been some things that have happened. And in this room, we did the psychic medium gallery readings, and the paranormal investigation that we did for October last year. We actually closed it out in this room. And so we had everybody from both groups, because we were investigating 2 different locations. We had them all wind up in here, and they were doing the Estes method in this room. They were trying to show the entire group how that works. They were asking volunteers. Everybody was sitting around and having a great time doing these things. And I tell ghost stories. I don't like to be the ghost story. Okay? I grew up in a haunted house. I have enough of that. So I am leaning right here, just like this, in my spot. And I'm watching this entire group of people, and they're all sitting down, except for the 2 people that are at the front on either side of the person doing the Estes method. He's sitting in the chair, And the one lady is asking questions, and the other person is tapping them on the shoulder when it's time for them to say whatever they hear. And so they're doing that, and I'm sitting here watching a whole bunch of other people walking around in the mirror behind them.
Oh, wow.
I don't like mirrors. P.S. These mirrors are original to the house.
Wow.
There's not really a specific place in the house that is more haunted than anywhere else, okay? It seems to be fluid and free moving throughout the entire house.
Okay.
I've had people that have said they've seen apparitions in the basement. I've had people who have said they've seen apparitions upstairs. I've had people who have told me that they felt cold spots in different places.
Okay.
We've had situations in this room. It's not a one way or the other situation in this house. But I will tell you this. The master bedroom is where all of the paranormal investigators always have the best success.
Okay.
So that is something.
That's cool.
When I've given tours, a lot of times we'll hear people walking upstairs. And I don't think that's an uncommon thing, because in the afternoons, usually about 4 or 5 o'clock, it's almost like the things upstairs are ready to come back and take out their basically their first floor. And they want to, they want their privacy during the day, so they're not out and active.
Sure,
and then you don't usually get a lot of activity until after hours.
Wow, okay.
So it's almost like they're like, why are you in our house? So on one of the paranormal investigations that we did, we had the group come in, and they all felt drawn mostly to this room. Now this is the addition that League-Kempner had added to the house in the 20s. And as you can see, this is actually the exterior wall of the house. And so instead of covering that over, they just tacked on another room. There was one particular investigation that was done where the group didn't listen to me. And I told them, don't go in the basement, don't go to the 3rd floor without somebody to accompany you. Let us know when you're ready to go. They didn't do that. They went on their own. And one of their investigators said that she had gotten slapped or scratched. And then there was another one who said that they were getting not nice words coming through some of their equipment. And that they were ready to leave. They wanted to pack it up. And they all came in here and huddled in this area until I was able to come and get them. So when I came to the house, I was like, what's going on? Are you guys done already? They're like, oh, we're done. We wound up carrying a bunch of stuff down the back steps to get it out into my truck, because I pulled my truck all the way up to basically the stairs. And I slipped from the top. I was about to fall, and something grabbed me by the back of my pants and stopped.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's not harmful or hurtful in this house at all. But it doesn't want you to not listen. Correct. And then this is the back half. Let me see if I need to grab a key, because I might. This was the servants' area. This would have been the washroom area for the servants.
For the servants? Okay.
And then we have the 3rd floor up here. And this is where a lot of people seem to get the heebie-jeebies.
Now we're talking.
Do you want to go to the place I like least in this house first, or do you want to go there last?
I'm following you. You let me know. I'm good with either.
We'll go there first.
Okay.
So this room is the one I always feel like they don't want me in. And I think it's because I'm not a person that works in the house, right? So I'm not on their staff or their payroll. So this would have been where the cistern is. So this would have been how the water made its way back down into the house. So the water would be pumped up from the well, which is in the basement, and then it would be here, and then it would run back down as needed. But I never feel like they like me up here.
Yeah, they really just want to be alone.
It's a very suppressive feel here, but it could be psychological, because look how
it's closed in.
Yeah, it's a very tight space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like they kind of let you know right about here.
Yeah, they're like
right about here is when I started to kind of, and then it gets
it's like
heavier.
Yeah, it's like, cool, that's not for you, don't be there.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Stairs. I've had people who have seen people on the stairs. It's an adventure.
Wow.
You know how in the olden days they wanted children to be seen and not heard?
Yeah.
Then you bring them up here so they can play. So this would have been their playroom.
Wow.
And they get a lot of really good hits, the paranormal investigators have in the past, with the toys, with the REM pods and cat balls and things like that. This is where they get a lot of that.
Wow, okay.
I get a lot of playfulness in there. For sure.
A lot of hide and seek in that door that will allow them there. Now, this house is a 1900 storm survivor.
Okay.
And the 1900 storm fascinates me. And I do tours about it. I just am entrenched in the history of it. It's a rabbit hole that I just really go down deep.
It's its own episode.
100%. But this house being a 1900 storm survivor, I have to show you something super
Yes. Okay.
Now, the family was not here at the time of the storm.
Okay.
They were actually in Colorado on vacation. They came back as soon as they heard about what happened, but they were gone. There's probability is high that they had maybe like 1, maybe 2 servants that could have been in the house.
Okay.
But back then, the island was a lot lower than it is now. So the island was raised 17 feet across the board where it needed to be filled in because the seawall was built 17 feet high.
Okay, yeah.
So not everything was raised 17 feet, but everything eventually leveled out to that, okay? This house was not raised. So this house is sitting exactly where it would have been at that time period, okay? But the really cool thing about that is that the Galvez had not yet been built, okay?
Yeah.
Which means that if the servants would have come up here to this room, looked out this window, where you can see the backside of the Galvez, they could have seen the storm coming.
Wow.
The Galvez was built in 1910 and opens in 1911. So you would have had a clear shot of the beach from here.
Wow. That is.
You would have seen the whole thing. Is where the story that Joe told you comes into play about the little girl.
Okay.
And this is what she said that they thought the little girl had hid behind. This gives you a really good vantage point to look at Bishop's Palace.
Oh yeah.
We've had a lot of people who have felt a lot of different things in this space. So we've had people who have felt really like work needed to be done, like they needed to get back to their job. We've had people who felt like they didn't belong up here because they weren't supposed to be doing the work. It's just kind of a mixed matched hodgepodge of emotions. But over in the corner there, I've had people who have felt touched, and I've had people who have felt like they were being pushed. Over here in this little workstation. Then of course through here, this is the way to the master bedroom. And this room is where the paranormal activity really seems to ramp up on the investigations. So the paranormal teams like to do things, you know, with all of this high-tech equipment, right? And none of it ever really works that well here.
Oh wow. Okay.
But put a flashlight on a table and ask them to say yes or no and turn it on or off for the answer.
Yeah.
And they do it all night. And we had about 50 people in this room because we had the 2 paranormal groups that had separated for the night come together and be in this space. They're all lined up against the walls, the flashlight's sitting on a table. They keep checking the batteries, they keep checking the flashlight, they change out the flashlight several times, and they have really good results the whole night. This was an outdoor balcony, and League-Kempner had it closed up
Oh wow.
so that it could be just another little nook. I've had a lot of people who have had mixed emotions about being in this space. Some people say they really love it. It feels very nice and breezy. Other people tell me that it's a little creepy for them. It's just kind of a hodgepodge mixed spaces.
Yeah.
In case you want to see it.
Oh, the elevator. Is it the elevator?
That is the elevator.
Oh wow, that is spooky. I would not ride in that.
Right?
Even if y'all got it working.
But now you've seen it. Here's the kitchen. So here are some pictures of what the house looks like. Here is Daisy Lee, in case you wanted to know what she looked like. Butler's pantry here, as you can see, with all of the original glass everywhere. And then we're back down here, but I'll show you the basement. And this is the well for the house. And as you can see, it's bricked up, but Here's the thing. Before, the bricking of this was actually lower. It was down to where you see that weird little line.
Yeah.
And then they wound up breaking it up this high because it was a tripping hazard. You have all of this wood. This is all original to the house. It comes from different places, different things, different projects, and all of it had to be gone through when the termite damage was being treated. And so Janie took every piece of this outside, went through it scrap by scrap, and brought it back in after she treated it.
That were originally the laundry. And they're these big giant sinks, and they set on this wall where these spigots are.
Okay.
So you had a soaking sink, a washing sink, and a rinsing sink, and this is where all the
Oh,
heavy
wow.
laundry
Okay.
was done down here. And like I said, there was a servant's bathroom over there. In this area was where the furnace set. There was like a little gardening shed down here, and storage, and just workspace for them to get things done and store tools and supplies and things.
And this is just a door outside. You can see the backyard. This lot is the original size of the lot, so it has never changed. It is the largest lot of any of the mansions on Broadway now.
That is really cool.
What's really cool now is the fence that you have here. There was actually a house that sat here before this one, and it was lost in a fire in Galveston, and the fence is original to that house.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that is cool.
Of course, these are the stairs that I got pulled back from falling down,
Oh, wow.
which was super helpful.
Yeah. I can imagine. I wouldn't want to fall backwards on those steps.
No, I didn't want to fall down these.
Ouch.
Well, I really appreciate,
So does Rachel. All the renovations, the renovation efforts to keep the history alive here. So beautiful, so cool. What an amazing place to come visit during spooky season. And unfortunately, this episode probably won't come out till after spooky season, but there's always spooky season next year and a year after that and a year after that. So-
We do this year round.
Yeah, absolutely.
We do it year round.
Absolutely. It doesn't have to be
The
spooky
ghosts
season.
in Galveston and the spirits in Galveston and the things that are attached to these places, they're here all the time.
Yeah.
Not just during Halloween
yeah.
season. I mean, that might be people's favorite time to come out,
Yes.
but spooky dark tourism stuff is done all year
All year
long.
round, yeah.
And, you know, Spooky Galveston, you can always find me, and
Yeah.
I'm always doing something. And I really do try to keep the spirit of spooky season alive all year. And we
So-
do all kinds of amazing things. Like we'll probably do Ghosts of Christmas Past in December.
Okay, yeah.
And we'll probably have the dead Edgar Allan Poe come out, and he'll probably do a performance here because he usually does. And then we'll have something around spring break time, and then we'll do halfway to Halloween, and you know, and we just perpetuate it
cool.
all
Yeah.
year long.
That is awesome.
And you know, and it's really a way for us to give back to the community that gives so much back to me because they believe in me and trust me with their stories.
Yeah.
And since they do that, it gives me the opportunity to make sure they have something that lasts and lasts.
Yeah. And the integrity of telling the stories as they actually are.
You know, we have enough
Yeah.
really cool stuff that's really just amazing and true.
In of itself.
Yeah,
without
there's no
adding
reason to
anything.
lie.
Yeah, no need to embellish.
There's no reason
but
to lie.
what's the next step on our tour? Are we still going to the Naval Museum?
We are still going to the Naval Museum, yes.
Okay.
That is on the list. I just have to let them know when we are on our way.
well then cool. And that's what we're gonna do next. So let's go check it out. Here we go.
So here we go to the second location we're going to be exploring today, the Galveston Naval Museum. It's located on Seawolf Park on Pelican Island in Galveston, Texas. It's home to two historic U.S. Navy vessels, the USS Kavala, a World War II submarine, and the USS Stewart, a destroyer escort. The USS Kavala is famous for sinking the Japanese aircraft carrier Shokaku during the Battle of the Philippine Sea. The USS Stewart is one of the only two surviving destroyer escorts in the world. Some visitors and staff have reported phantom footsteps, whispers in tight corridors, and strange feelings in the submarine bunks. It's a must visit for military history enthusiasts, ghost hunters, and anyone exploring Galveston's haunted side. Let's go check it out.
My name is William Whitmore. I've been here for 3 years. I'm a ship supervisor and training lead for the museum. I've had a couple of paranormal experiences myself since I've been here, and we'll kind of go through those as we're talking about the ship.
As we go through,
Yeah,
you're
as
about
we
to
go
go show
through.
us.
Absolutely, yes. Our depth charge section, which is where we're headed to right now. In a ghost activity in this space, you have reports of we have people that stay on board the vessel at night during sleepovers, and they'll hear running up and down this next section right here. So running up and down, and this is at like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
Nobody's in them except them. And they would hear that all around here. Wow. And this would be called the stern end of the ship. This is the back end of the ship. This is the stern. And then the reason why this space would also have a bunch of different activity would be you have people that would, like she's saying, man these K guns and depth charge combos, and this is how they would sink the submarines. So if this back end got hit by any torpedoes, the entire ship would pretty much just blow up. It would start to flood with water. And that's why all of our hatches are watertight. Back here, the main ghost story for back here is really just
the footsteps.
Yeah, the footsteps. That's the most reported thing for this section of the ship. But you do also have, and the reason why they would be potentially running would be to get more ammo for this.
I can
more
imagine.
ammo for the 3-inch guns. It's all rushed. So that's rushed footsteps that you'd be hearing, not just like slow, kind of one at a time. You'd be hearing tap, 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 tap. And then out there, you can catch it with the camera. That is the SS Selma. That is actually a concrete vessel that predates these vessels as well in their entirety. So that's been there since 1921.
Wow.
Yeah, that was, and the reason why it's concrete is because during World War I, they were experiencing steel shortages. And so they were trying to experiment with different materials to make merchant vessels. So that's what one of the materials was let's try concrete. So that's literally what they did, is they made concrete ships.
That is crazy.
One actually sustained hull damage, and they had to land her on the beach right there. In the section of the sand dune. There's a legend about the Selma where supposedly there used to be a hermit that lived over there. And that he evaded taxes, he grew his own food, he caught fish to eat and substance live. That's a supposed story. That's kind of like an Islander special. If you're on Galveston Island, you may have heard that story before. But that is one of the things that vessel is also known for, is that legend.
The hermit. Wow.
Yeah.
So that is the story of Frenchie LeBlanc.
Frenchie LeBlanc. When he passed away, they started seeing
phantom lantern lights out on the sun.
Wow. So if we're out here investigating and we look out there, we see lantern lights, it might be old Frenchie LeBlanc. Frenchie LeBlanc.
It might be.
So, but yeah, we've got a lot of cool things. As a matter of fact, just the other day we had we locked up the ship because when the possibility of a hurricane. So we had everything locked down, signs removed, all of those things. When we came back the next morning, from behind a locked door, some of the artifacts were moved out into the berthing area.
Oh, wow.
And I'll show you that area in a second. But I don't think they like to be locked in. But there's a lot of activity that we have in both. We've had a lot of staff members that have had different things happen. One of our staff members, it was after one of the other paranormal groups came years ago. They it kind of stirred things up a little bit, and he got choked out.
Oh wow!
In the submarine. So
wow.
Well, he wasn't. I mean, he was just working, and so I don't know. He was just in there doing some work, and he just got.
Okay, so he was just minding his own, and something was pissed, and okay.
It was in the submarine. Basically, what happened was, you could feel like if there was a ghost or some sort of presence on submarine, you can feel it. I can feel it. I don't know about most people, but I could feel it when it was there. And oddly enough, it was my first time working at the museum. So, I had been around as a kid. My dad took me here and, never had a single problem. But my first day volunteering working at the museum, I don't know what it is, they didn't like me. But basically what happened was I felt a presence like really heavy on my chest, like it was squeezing me, almost like just being squeezed. And then I just felt like hands around my neck, like you could feel being choked. And it was in broad daylight, in the middle of the engine room when nobody was in there, so it's like not any human presence whatsoever, but you could just feel like being choked.
Yeah.
So I went and just you know, I couldn't breathe. I felt just jittery like this, and it was just such a negative experience, you know, in the submarine. And so I went outside and I could still feel it, like something's on me. I tried to shake it off, you know, there's nothing I could do about it. But it was the weirdest thing. I went up to the top of the ship and man, I prayed and it just disappeared. Yeah. And I said, that was crazy. That was a ghost or a spirit or something.
Yeah. Wow.
That wasn't, you know, nobody touched me. Nobody was in there.
So this is a staff area. So, you know, this is like where Ryan's office is, kind of where I work out of. And then we have some of exhibits that we keep in the back. So I can kind of show you some of those things. But when the you know, because there's two vessels, there was the two groups coming in, you know, the other group when they came by last weekend, we kind of showed them around, but they did the SLS. There was 3 sailors sleeping on the bunks.
Oh wow.
And so also back here in this area, so we actually do have overnights, you know, like where Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, schools, you know, they have different things. So they'll actually come and they'll actually get to sleep.
Oh wow.
Where the sailors slept.
That's cool.
So we do movies for them. We have food.
Okay.
We have a lot of different things. But back here in this area, but we also have the artifacts.
Okay.
Things like that. So like this is the actual time period ship. You know, the exact same class as what we have here.
Okay.
And so like we do have some of that. We also have some exhibits, you know, and some artifacts.
Okay.
May or may not have any kind of an attachment
to it. Wow.
So here's the officers and sailors in a group photo. We've got you know, so many different things, you know, period uniforms. We have, you know, again, some more photos, and we actually have some documents and schematics. We have a lot of different things that have really, this is like some of the, you can see some of the curated things in there. There was actually, we picked up 3, somebody sitting in that stool and 2 others in there. This is the corpsman's area. So this is like where they would have come for like medical attention.
Okay.
Different things like that. Any injuries would have been treated in here. As well as, you know, they have a one upstairs in the officer's mess as well. So,
okay.
you know, it's
interesting.
It's never ending here. So I mean, it's,
now, before we head on in here, for the people that go off of feel, the most notable thing that, in my own personal experience that I've had in here, you'll smell cigarette smoke, and you'll also kind of feel like someone's watching you. So if you feel those things, just, well, even more so like around heavy machinery, you know. So it's like you would have, let's say, a private that just enrolled in submarine service, and his job is to keep track of all these levers and knobs and stuff. If I just start going around pulling on stuff, he may get mad. So that's just something that may or will happen. But this is the forward torpedo room. So this is the very forward part of the submarine. So this is the forward section. You have the torpedo tubes right here. You have 4 in here at the moment. There would be 6. So you have 2 up top right here, and there's 2 underneath these 2. You can actually see where these are numbered. So number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6.
Okay.
And then you would actually have 2 more on top of these 2 right here. You would have one right there, one right there. So that has been a reported sighting that I've heard personally. This wasn't his first job as a captain on board a submarine either. He actually had, by the end of his career, he'd become an admiral. But he had served on a bunch of different submarines, and this wasn't his first rodeo, so to speak. He had been in action before.
Right.
This is the chief petty officer's room, so this is where the kind of semi.
I was gonna say, is that the bunk you were talking about?
No, but if you're getting feelings from that, that's a first.
like just now, just coming across the threshold, I mean, it's like, boom, it hit you like a brick wall. At least it did me.
So, do you feel anything in this room?
I mean,
because I'll tell you, this is the room that I had that positive spike, that constant red. This is the room that I actually had it in. If you can point out.
Let me walk. Yeah. Let me like absorb for a minute.
I'll let you take in the space. If anything, I'll show you the doll room, and maybe that'll help hone it.
Yeah. Let's check out the doll room.
Making it work.
No, you're good. I feel on it. I feel like they're watching.
So I do need your help with one thing.
Okay.
This is going to be pushed up for us to get in here.
Oh, perfect. That's the bed?
Yes, it is. Well, no, this isn't the bed. For food. I've also.
I don't like it in here.
Yeah, I've also heard that it was a classroom. But it's a creepy.
Wow. It is. Just with the mannequins. Holy sh! Silent Hill.
Yeah, all of those.
My God.
Those have been here longer than I have.
Wow.
Okay, as soon as I said I don't like it down here, and then I left.
Jeez. This is one creepy ass room. Can you imagine being here in the dark?
Are you able to come down?
Wow, what a fun, inspiring road trip. From devastating storms to deadly epidemics, Galveston has faced more than its share of tragedy, yet it's one resilient town. Today, Galveston stands proud with its breathtaking historic homes, grand architecture, and the incredible restoration efforts that keep its past alive for future generations. The Galveston Naval Museum awaits to share stories of bravery and heroism, honoring those who served with courage at sea. If you're planning a paranormal day trip, Galveston is a must for your bucket list for the history, the resilience, the beauty, and the unforgettable spirits of the island, especially during spooky season. Hey guys, as of the time of editing and uploading this video, Spooky Gin is no longer collaborating with the people at the League-Kempner house, but she still completely supports any effort to keep the history alive and renovation efforts because of course she does. This is her passion. She loves everything Galveston, the history, the hauntings, and that's what makes her tours so fun and so informative. In fact, I strongly recommend you guys taking the tour. Again, the links are down below in the description. I want to thank everybody involved in this fun road trip, from the amazing ladies at the League-Kempner house and the very educated, awesome people at the Naval Museum. Man, we had a blast. It was so much fun and very inspiring. Thank you guys so much. And most of all, thank you, Spooky Gin, for setting all this up and inviting us. And man, we had a blast. Thank you so much. And we also want to thank you guys, our fellow paratrippers, for coming along with us on this paranormal day trip. It was a blast. It was a lot of fun. And don't forget to like, share, because it really helps us help the places that we go to. And as always, we're doing our small part to keep history alive, one ghost story at a time. So thanks again, guys, and we'll see you on the next paranormal day trip. But don't go just yet. We have clips of our public ghost hunt at the Naval Museum and this really cool parade on the Strand there in Galveston. So check it out, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.